Alright, so today, day 3, is lesson 2. This lesson is going to give you a lot of practice with creating equilateral triangles. We're going to kind of skip a little bit on this lesson because the first part of this lesson asks you to get a compass, a straight edge, and another student's problem set. So what I want you to do, obviously, we're kind of in quarantine. We don't have another student. I can't have you trade back and forth in class. So what I want you to do is I want you to get your steps out from your homework. And it says, follow the directions of the problem set and construct an equilateral triangle. And it wants to know what kind of problems did you have. Did the directions work? Did you have trouble understanding what they wanted? Think about ways to avoid these problems. Maybe it's vocabulary that you're not using correctly. So I want you to take a few minutes, pause the video, and I want you to take your directions and I want you to construct an equilateral triangle using your directions. Then I want you to come down here and I want you to tell me what problems did you have. Answer that, what kind of problems did you have down here? And maybe change your directions. So at this point in time, you need to be pausing the video and you need to be constructing your own equilateral triangle based on your directions. Alright, so let's look at this. Exploratory Challenge 1. So you'll need your compass and your straight edge. It says, using the skills you have practiced, construct 3 equilateral triangles, where the first and second triangles share a common side, and the second and third triangles share a common side. Clearly and precisely list the steps needed to accomplish this construction. Alright, so the first thing I need to do is I need to draw a segment. Alright, and if you want to work with me through this, you can, that's fine. But we're going to draw a segment. And we're going to put a point A and a point B. Okay? Now it says that it wants the first and second triangle to share a common side. So I need to draw circle A. Alright, so I've got to draw a circle with the center being A. You can, however you want to do this. Okay? Draw you a circle with the center being A. And like I said, it takes a little bit of practice. And sometimes it moves on you. If it moves on you, erase and start over. That's kind of what I do. And we'll figure this out. It takes some time to practice, some time to work. Compasses like to move. I'm going to put my point on A, and then I'm going to draw my circle. And like I said, sometimes they move. They are not perfect. Alright, so here's my A. Do not move the setting of your compass. Now I'm going to draw a circle with the center B. center B. Alright, there we go. Label one intersection as C. Notice my points or my circles intersect. We're going to label that as point C. Now, keeping the same measurement on my compass, I'm going to draw circle C. Alright, so I've got to draw the circle C now. It gets kind of confusing because I have a lot of stuff going on here. Alright, so I've got circle C. Now I'm going to label the other intersection, one of the other intersections of circle C and circle A. We're going to label that as E. I think I forgot to put in, I've got this intersection here too. Alright, and I have this intersection. So we've got to figure out which other intersection we're going to use. So it says it wants the first and second triangle to share common side and the second and third triangle to share common side. So we're going to use this intersection. And now I'm going to draw my segments. I'm going to connect my segments or my points. Just connecting my points, like playing connect the dots, like you did when you were little. And there you have it. The first and second triangles share a side, so we'll let this be triangle 1 and triangle 2. Well, triangle 1, triangle 2. And then the second and third triangle share a side. Okay? Now, it wants us to list the steps, and it says list them clearly. Alright, so step number 1, I'm going to draw a segment AB. Okay? Step number 2, I'm going to draw circle A. Alright, and I want to be specific. The center of that circle was A, and it had a radius of AB. Okay? That tells me that since I know my circle has a center of A, that I drew around point A. Step number 3, we draw circle B. Once again, that is center B, and it had a radius of BA. Remember, they're interchangeable. Alright? So at this point in time, we're going to label one intersection as C. And then probably we need to go ahead and say label the other intersection as D. So now we've got A, B, C, and D labeled. Alright, if you remember the last step that we did, or the next step that we did was to draw circle C. Alright, and that was the center C with a radius of CA. Now we've got to label the unlabeled intersection of circle C as E. And then the last thing that we did was we draw all segments that are congruent to segment AB. This is where I said we play connect the dots. That is the 7 steps to creating equilateral triangles. Okay. Guys, you know you can pause the video if you need to go back and catch all of these steps. Alright. Alright, our next exploratory challenge is going to give us some more practice. On a separate piece of paper, use the skills you have developed in this lesson and construct a regular hexagon. Clearly and precisely list the steps needed to accomplish this construction. Compare your results with a partner and revise your drawing and list of steps as needed. Okay, so the first thing we need to know is how many sides a hexagon has. A hexagon has 6 sides, which means how many circles am I going to have to draw? I'm going to have to draw 6 circles. Alright, so where do I start? This one's a little bit different. I'm going to, I'm just going to start with a letter. So I'm going to start with the letter K. Alright, now I'm going to draw a circle K. Guys, remember, once I make the measure, once I open my compass up, do not change the setting of your compass because you want it all to be equal. Alright, so I'm going to draw a circle K. And trust me, I understand your frustration with compasses, because I have that too. Alright, so here's my circle K. And if you want to, as we're going, you can actually go ahead and list the steps. That way you do not have to try to go back and remember them. And I don't think, let's see, can you read the construction? Okay. We aren't going to answer that question right here, right now. We're going to write our steps down. Alright, so draw a circle K. Remember, K is the center. And in this case, I have any radius. I don't have another letter just yet, so I have a radius. Now it says pick a point on the circle. Alright, so we're going to pick a point on the circle, and we're going to label it point A. Okay? So pick a point on the circle. And we're going to name it point A. Now this gives us a distance here. So I need to measure the distance between K and A. All right, now I'm going to draw circle A. So we got to draw circle A. Okay, so I have circle A drawn. Okay, so I'm going to draw circle A. And I need to label that center A. And now it actually has a radius. It has a radius of AK. Okay. All right, notice I now have 2 points of intersection. So I'm going to label this B. And I'm going to label this one F. Okay, so label the intersections of circle A and K as B and F. All right, so we're labeling those intersections. See if I can back this out just a little bit. There we go. Don't want to back it out too much so you can still read. All right, so we've now labeled our intersections. So now I've got to take and I'm going to draw circle B. So I'm going to put my pointy part on B and draw my circle. Okay. So draw circle B. And that has a center B. And it now has a radius of BK. And these radiuses that we're talking about, they're going to become our segments. All right, we're going to look at those as being segments. They're part of our segments here. All right, so now notice I have an intersection here of circle B and circle K. And I'm going to label that C. I've got 1, 2, 3 of my sides drawn for my hexagon. So label the intersection of circle B and circle K as C. Okay? Alright, so now we're going to continue to draw these. We've got to have 3 more points. Alright? So I need to continue to treat the intersection of each new circle with circle K as the center of a new circle. So now I'm going to draw circle C. Alright, and look at this. I now have a new intersection, and we're going to name that D. Alright, and I'm going to do circle D. Maybe, if it doesn't decide to move it every time I try to move something. Like I said, guys, it's a trial and error type thing. Start and stop if you need to. So here's circle D. I've got a new point here. And we're going to name that E. Alright, so, instead of continuing to write draw circle C, draw circle D, I'm just going to say to continue drawing the circles needed. Alright, we're just going to continue drawing those circles needed, because if not, our steps are going to be forever long. Alright, so now, let's look at this. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 points. Does that mean I'm going to be able to create 6 sides? Yes. So, I can go ahead and connect my sides. Because remember, our goal is to create a hexagon. We need a 6-sided figure. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I now have a hexagon. So my last step is to draw segment AB, segment BC, segment CD, segment DE, segment EF, and segment AF. Okay? So that is my last step to drawing this hexagon. So the question says, can you repeat the construction of a hexagon until the entire sheet is covered in hexagons, except the edges will be partial hexagons? So can I continue to do this on my whole entire paper? Yes, I can. Alright? Yes, I can. It might look like wallpaper. Think about wallpaper. It's continuous designs over and over. Guys, continue practicing with this compass.